the question this guy asked is, well, once you become enlightened, like in Zen, you become enlightened where you like figure everything out, why the hell do you keep meditating? Well, once you're enlightened, isn't that the end of it? Like, aren't you done? No one could answer that. So he did his own thing, and it's relevant to fighting and finance and everything else. The enlightenment is the practice. It is the meditation. How we translate that is, it's not what you're getting, it's what you're doing. So this guy next to me is already smart as shit, like already there. He could stop now and be smarter than almost everybody he met. But if you notice, I have to learn something new today. So what did he say? He didn't say, I need to make another $1 million a day, even though that's probably in his mind as well. What's in his mind is, I have to learn something new. So it's, where are you putting your fucking values? Because if you're just putting your values on a material thing, everybody in here, you guys are here because you're smart already. Sorry to break it to you guys, you're smart. Here's just some positive energy for you, but that is your worst enemy. Because it's that false logic that I'm talking about. You talk yourself in to false logic. You will only go so far, you will only accomplish so much, and if that's your goal, you shouldn't be here. Like, a lot of people can do that. Can you be great? Can you do the time, the extra? So let's talk about Holm, one of my female fighters. I take her up to the Sandia Crest, which is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's about 11,000 feet, and we all sprinted 1 million times. All the other fighters except her will walk back to the parking lot. So we run 3 miles, and we sprint 50 times, and every other fighter is so exhausted by that because I'm behind him, yelling at him, pushing him up, yada, 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 except her. She always runs back. Why does she run back? She already did her 50 sprints. She's done. She runs back because that is what she wants to be. Like, she wants to be that person that is always going to be a champion, that is always going to surpass the other people that are fighting for that championship spot. Doesn't mean shit to her. She wants to be that next level. Same thing with John. John will always spar 3 or 4 more rounds than everybody else around him. Why? He did his time. I said, you give me 5 rounds. He gave me 5 rounds, but then he does 3 more. He does 3 more on his own. And if I don't assign him somebody, he will pull them in because he doesn't care about being a champion. He cares about being great. That's where his value is. He wants to learn something new every day. So it's just, where are you going to put your intention? So, and again, having that, if you don't do that, if complacency rides into you, then Steve's dad's right. You're going to get caught. Steve eventually got caught from that very thing. That is important, guys. Not being complacent is important. Oh, I got some hype sirens behind me. But guys, just that. So what are your goals? If your goals are to be successful, then you need to define what success is. To me, having shit isn't successful. There's a lot of people that have shit. How many champions can you guys name right now that aren't George St. Pierre and John Jones and, like you just said, the greatest of all time? Why? But immediately when you say who's the greatest of all time, some of those guys should pop in. Maybe not one of my guys. Anderson Silva's right up there. There's other guys. But those are the guys you talk about, because those guys were never satisfied with one world title or having X or Y. It's a habit. Their habit is to be great. So it's not that you get to be successful in these certain things. It's that I want to be better than anybody else doing it, if you want to look at ambition. And even if you want to take that out, if you're here, guys, what else are you going to do with your day except push hard? It is not fun to sit around. It isn't. Like, a beach is fun for 3 days. It's the funnest thing you'll ever do. Sit in the water, da-da-da. On day 4, you guys should be like this. Like Derek was saying, like, if the woman wants you to go see some flowers, that's great, good flowers. But after watching flowers for a little bit, that's not the process. Has nothing to do with what made you happy. What makes you happy is being in the grind, is being there. Why do you think fighting is so hard to give up for these guys? Because they don't care about fighting. They care about being great. And that was their avenue to being great. And when you take that away from them, they're depressed, it's awful. They can't do it anymore. It's the worst thing ever. That's how you guys should be. If you guys aren't learning or doing whatever you need to do business-wise, you should be miserable. And if you're not, man, find another job. Cool. Go be a janitor. That's a good job. There's soccer moms. That's a good job. There's plenty of jobs out there. It's just not the job for you. But if what pushing makes you happy, that's it. Pushing makes you happy. Getting shit is just a reward for pushing. But that's what makes you happy. So if it makes you happy, I could not imagine Derek not learning something, not pushing himself. Like, I wouldn't even know this guy if that was the case. Every day I hang out with him, we're working on something, we're talking about something, but it's always to an end. Either it's inspirational or it's educational, or we share thoughts on things, learning from each other, but that is what makes him happy. All this money and stuff, that's just a byproduct. That's just what he gets for doing that. But at his core, if you said, Derek, you never earn another dollar again, he would still do the same. I'm telling you right now. Well, yeah, he might commit suicide, but he also, before he did that, he would say, as long as I'm driving like a son of a gun, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm not blowing smoke up his ass. Cover your ears for a minute. He could actually be a world champion if that was his focus. If he moved away that way, he's strong as shit, mentally tough, very smart, not a pussy at all. He has all very coachable, incredibly coachable. He has all those requirements. He probably will never go and do that. So why does he do martial arts? Well, yeah, it feels good to be able to kick everyone's ass in the room. That's always a nice thing. But that's not why he's doing it. He'll probably do that before that. He loves to learn and push. He loves to get beat down, overcome adversity. That's what makes Derek happy. That's what should make you guys happy. It ain't the millions. That's your goal setting to keep yourself motivated, great. But the second you hit that, that's not gonna make you happy. Pushing like a makes you happy. Goddamn, it makes me happy. All the wheels have fallen off me, man. I'm freaking, when I grab onto Derek and like I'm putting him in a choke or something, he just powers right out of it. I got nothing left in my body and I'm the happiest I ever be doing it. I got nothing, I got injury. Every time Derek sees me, there's a new injury. Every time he sees me, and I'm the happiest dude you'll ever meet doing the most ridiculous shit. I'm 50 years old, I'm still happy loving it. Because that's what makes me happy. I love pushing. I don't mind getting up. Don't mind it in the least. What makes me happy is pushing, learning, growing, acquiring things, because that is a nice representation of, okay, I did this process correctly, and now because I did it correctly, because I did the work, I get this stuff. Cool, I want to do it again. I'm going to tell you what, at every single world champion fight I've ever been a part of, and it has been a lot, I'm happy for 30 seconds. Oh, my guy raises his hands, and I say this in interviews. You can go on YouTube right now and watch him. For 30 seconds, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever, and then I just want to do it again. There's something in fighting called the post-fight blues. Every fighter you know, guys, is depressed as shit on day 2. All of them. I've been doing this 30-some years. I've never known a fighter to not be depressed after they win. Why? You just won everything you had.
Gotta do it again.
Exactly. It's 30 seconds. That's why, again, fighters can't give it up. It's because the second you're done with it, you were so focused, you had everything. They just sit there like, I'm not going to the gym today. I'm not learning anything. Coach isn't yelling at me. I'm bored out of my mind. That is what success is. There might be a hard price to pay for that, guys, but it's like that poem, man. It's worth it. It's the only good fight there is. Really.
I talked to you guys about, how to migrate from a job to... Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. It is and it's not. Entrepreneurship is for everyone, but even if you have a job, the more entrepreneurial you could be in your career, you're going to get bigger bonuses and more pay and so on, because you're going to be able to contribute at a higher level to an organization. So totally independent entrepreneurship of like, oh, I got to go build a business from scratch. It's like, that's really scary for most people, and it really sucks for everybody. And I'm past the scary part. I don't think it's scary, but I think it sucks. It sucks to go build a new thing. It sucks for at least 3 or 4 years before it's good, And it's probably never going to be good. For most people, it's never going to be good, but for sure it's going to suck for a good 3 years. And then you'll probably have a total flop, and then you got to go do it again. And you know what's guaranteed? It may or may not be good, but it's going to suck for at least another 3 years. All right? And so that's what you're signing up for. And so I do think entrepreneurship's for everybody, again, in the sense that it'll allow you to contribute at a higher level, it'll allow you to make better managerial decisions in your life, In a worst case scenario, you're going to get paid triple what you would have, in your career than if you weren't thinking about, more entrepreneurial strategies and you were just following a manager's instruction. In a worst case scenario, you're going to make at least 3 times the money. At least. Maybe a lot more than that. That's presuming you still have a job for your whole life. Okay? Now, if you go build a business that matters, for some people that's extraordinary wealth. And, in the tech economy, which most of you are more tech savvy than I am. In the tech economy, it's allowed the best entrepreneurs in the world to be wealthier than the best investors in the world. So people like Bezos or Musk have silly wealth at a much earlier age than a guy like Warren Buffett even. Everybody knows the name Warren Buffett. These other names too, but a high-level tech entrepreneur, and these are a few people in the world, it's just, it's extreme wealth. I love it. There's nothing wrong with it. Not extreme like it's a bad thing, but that's amazing to have, hundreds of billions of dollars and still be kind of young, still be pretty young to go do gangster shit. That's amazing. That's great. Are you going to do that? I hope you do. I hope you do. I'm not going to build that kind of business. I don't have the right skill set to build that kind of business. So I can build a business that pays me millions of dollars a year in profits, and I know how to be a good investor. Well, there's another level where if you have enough money from your investments, you don't have to do anything in entrepreneurship that you don't want to do anymore. And that's a really fun spot. That's a really fun spot. And I kind of feel that way, that I haven't had a job since 1999. I quit my last job in 1999, January. So, this January, a couple months ago, was 25 years since I quit my last job. And I needed an excuse to buy a Rolls Royce. I always wanted a Rolls Royce. And this is not a good reason, but it's a palatable excuse. I thought, what is a better excuse to spend $800,000 on a car than to celebrate your 25th year of unemployment? So I bought an $800,000 car. I made a deposit on it, and it's being made for me, and you'll be riding in it later this year. Purple, of course.
Sounds good to me.
A purple Rolls Royce. It's very reasonable. And a friend of mine made the comment, like, you have the taste of like an 80s black pimp. I said, yeah, that's right. Yes, I do. But you like gold and diamonds and a purple Rolls Royce. Like, this was not a compliment. Right? Or they didn't realize the compliment they were paying me is maybe the way I should say it. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't. There's this point a few years ago where, I guess 2021, I kind of felt like, I had that thought that you mentioned, Lauren, of like, I don't really need to do anything I don't want to do. And that was, kind of fulfilling in some ways. But then it's like, well, what the do I want to do then? Because that's what I've been doing the last 30 years. So what do I want to do? And I need tough projects. I like that. I don't like laying around and being like a jellyfish, There's a lot of men, I call them jellyfish. There's a lot of men out there just kind of just floating around and, wherever the current takes them. Like, some shit just comes and eats them. They can't even respond. They just kind of fly out. Oh, I guess this is the end. So I don't want to be one of these spineless jellyfish men. So I thought, well, what the am I going to do that is like a fun challenge, and it's like hard, keeps my brain activated, helped me be a little more fit. I was 300 pounds and pretty fat at that time. And I guess it wasn't until 2022 I started the MMA training. Is that right? 22, 23? No, it was November 2021. I lost 70 pounds of fat. I gained 20 pounds of muscle. I wake up right at 250, 252, 253, 250, 253. Man, all I think about is money and violence, which I like. All I think about is money and violence. It's like all I think about. And I kind of would like that. I just solve problems in those areas. and I go lift some weights, and I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder at all. I have like a bodybuilding coach, or a couple of them, and we go lift weights. I want more strength. I want more of a fighting physique. So I'm not trying to put on big mass, big size, but I do want to be strong. So strong is more important than size. For the amount of effort I'm making, I could be significantly bigger. That's a different strategy. It's a different strategy of, like they call muscle hypertrophy, of adding the maximum amount of muscle versus just increasing strength but staying, a smaller size. You notice none of these big, the very successful fighters don't tend to look like bodybuilders, because when you have that extra muscle mass, it's an extra strain on your cardiovascular system, and those guys don't have cardio. It's like I don't want to say in a disrespectful way, but there's no professional bodybuilder that could beat me in a fight with my current skills. Like zero chance. And if we could get a pay-per-view money, or for enough money, I'd be happy to test that with anybody who thinks otherwise, because I think it'd be very bad for them. I'm certain it would be very bad for them. There's no professional bodybuilder that would beat me in a fight. Not possible. In any case, I just needed that kind of, I needed a different challenge. And I thought, well, my money can make me enough money. I had, from 2020, in less than 2 years, I added about $42 million to my net worth. So that put me over 50 million. And I thought, well, I can kind of do what I want. But again, there's that problem. What do you want to do? So I thought I needed a good project, so I liked that, And I've done better since then. I haven't stayed that poor, so I'm in the 70s now. So I made a comment earlier of like, I don't see. I mean, a lot of things could go wrong, and I'll still have 100 million while I'm still in my 40s, And maybe 200 million if a few things go right. Well, I don't know. That's still 5 years, so maybe I could triple that money in 5 years or close to that. That's not an outrageous idea. Depends what happens, But I don't see I don't have 100 million at least, when still in my 40s. And I'll get the money, but I don't. It's a little bit more of a playful experiment, if that makes sense. I think your personality understands that like, if you can think about it a little more playfully, it's not something I have to do, but it's a little puzzle to solve or a little game to play. And I think of like, well, honestly, I've in this business, in the Moneyberg brand, I changed my perspective about that a lot in the past couple of years. Where like, I'm not excited to go build a big company. I'm excited to go have kind of intimate, like 30, 40 people in a room. And I kind of want to be a dick to everybody else that's sufficiently screen people out that it kind of stays that way.
You watch this video all the way through, and that tells me you're dedicated to learning more and earning far above average outcomes in your life. Congratulations for that. But now it's time to take action. If you could have earned those results by yourself, you would have done it already. My head coach has opened up a few spots on his high-demand calendar for an in-person, one-on-one strategy session to help you. On this call, we'll give you the pragmatic advice that you can implement tonight to get laser-focused on the right metrics and leave mediocrity far behind in your past. Click that link right now in the description below and apply for your call immediately. Do it now.